Hello everybody, this is Chaz in Omaha. In this video we're going to explain 4 ways to juice a brand new character in Last Epoch. These methods are useful for every build and playstyle that exists in the game, and only require your character to reach the very first town so that you have stash access. The 4 methods for juicing your new characters are pre-crafted rares, set shards, preferably sealed ones, Jewelra forged legendaries that are usable at a very early level, and sealed affixes on low-level base items. If you have any important notes or info that I failed to mention here, please tell us down in the comments so everybody can juice their characters even better. With all that said, let's take a quick look at what happens to your early characters if you correctly use some of these strategies. Okay, so this guy, no, we can just put it right on. Okay, so look, 42, 345. I don't care, dude. Whee! Wham! One shot. One shot. I just hit for 900 with a Fury Leap. He's probably gonna die really fast, though. Should be getting totem. How have we not gotten any totems yet? Oh, there's one. There's one behind him. And then we would leap, right? And then the totem would appear here. Oh, this is so good. I mean, how long do we wear this set? Probably for a while, right? Probably until we can wear Blood of the whatchamacallit. Yeah, Blood of the Exile is probably when we take this off. As you can see, this makes your characters insanely OP at the very beginning in a really hilarious way. Normally I don't really like this sort of thing in ARPGs because it can remove the fun of searching for item upgrades. And let's be honest, the search for better pixels with bigger numbers is a majority of the appeal of ARPGs. In this case I don't really mind though, because somewhere around Act 2 you pretty much still need to find upgrades because the item implicit values get strong fairly quickly. Now let's go ahead and go through the 4 methods of achieving this, starting with pre-crafted rares. Pre-crafted rares is the least impactful yet the easiest method. You start by picking up a low-level base near the start of the game. In the case of rings, you probably want them to be movement speed based with near max implicit value. Preferably they would already come with 1 or more tier 1 affixes that you'd want, but a naked white item can work in most cases. Then you simply craft on them using common shards you've already had from previous characters. Make sure and use the Glyph of Hopes so that you can save the very small amount of forging potential that these items are probably going to have. The limit for affixes on an item while still being wearable at level 1 is 1 tier 2 and 2 tier 1 affixes plus a sealed affix. If you break this limit, the item won't be wearable at level 1 any longer. I would recommend crafting tier 2 of primary stat or movement speed in the case of boots, a tier 1 of a useful percent increase like fire or physical, or things like attack speed and cast speed for gloves, and then a tier 1 of physical or void resistance or tier 1 of ward per second. Ward per second at the very beginning of the game is insanely powerful and will pretty much make you invincible. You can use this crafting technique to make separate full sets of gear for dex, int, strength, and attunement, or if you want to get really crazy, different types of damage like fire, physical, poison, etc. I tend to focus primarily on boots, one ring, the neck, relic, and gloves. On boots, you can also put tier 1 vitality instead of primary stat if you just want a universal version. The chest is good with very powerful stat values, but generally it's just going to be overridden by forging the Kestrel, which is a relatively easy 2 to 3 LP unique chest. Now for the second method, using set shard items. How do we use set shard items? Well, we start the same way we did before. Get a base item. This base item needs to have an open prefix or suffix slot that matches the given set shard we want to use. Then you go ahead and forge tier 1 of the set shard onto this item. At this point, you can choose to use a Glyph of Despair to seal the set affix. If you do this and still have forging potential remaining, you can then get additional, assuming you don't exceed the previously mentioned 1 tier 2 and 2 tier 1 affixes. The sealed set affix will not count towards that total. Here are a few example sets that you might look at putting on early gear. We have the Halvar set. I would recommend using boots and relic. I don't think it's a good idea to use the weapon because you can wear this set for quite a long time and get great benefit, and you generally want to upgrade your weapons as you level because the higher implicits get massive flat damage improvements. There's the Pebbles set. This 3-piece has a very large minion flat value. Personally, I'm going to try this one quite soon because I think it'd be very good at the beginning. Then you have the Shattered Lance set. You just stack health regen for a decent cold damage buff. It'd be pretty good with an ability like Shatter Strike, perhaps. The third method is probably the most fun and the most OP. There are some extremely good uniques that can be worn very early in the game. That being said, it is definitely the most effort. You need to be watching for matching exalted items as you play late game with higher level characters for this to work. Here's a short list of several uniques that are usable at a very early level. We have Harthanon's Vow, two-handed axe. It comes with default strength that scales a flat legendary affix very well. You've seen in the earlier video, I had a max roll tier 7 flat physical inside this axe, and I was quite literally one-shotting a majority of things. Then we have the Hammer of Laurent. This is similar to Harthanon's, except it has no default flat value, but it does have default % increased melee, so it's potentially better. Here we have the Firestarter Torch. This thing has a contagion dot, the spreading flames, that can basically clear screens even at endgame if you have the right gear, and it also has a built-in fire damage multiplier, which once again is very good at endgame even. It comes with move speed, and it also comes with -4 cost for fire spells, which is good for something like Fireball. Here we have the Hellfire Bow. It has default attack speed and fire damage with pen, so ideally you use it with flat fire damage or fire/bow % so you can make use of the default values. Next we have the Kestrel. I generally try and make 3 different versions of this so I can have one for dex, one for int, and one for strength. It's pretty easy to get 2 or 3 LP on this. It comes with default movement speed, and if you're a rogue, you get +1 to all dex skills. Here we have the Thorn Slinger, another late game viable one. This one does have a level 12 requirement, but it also has default movement speed, and it comes with +1 to physical skills. Here we have the Arboreal Circuit. This ring is pretty sweet because it has double movement speed by default. It doesn't even need LP to be good. It has a decoy-like effect, which is actually quite good at the beginning. It's very effective. And if you happen to be playing a minion build, the armor effect makes your minions pretty invincible for a while. And the last example I have here is the Lessons of the Metropolis. If you put a tier 7 move speed in these boots, you will be moving very fast for quite a long time. It comes with between 10 and 17% move speed baseline, and then a tier 7 can give you an extra 25 to 30%. And the final way to juice your early characters is extremely RNG. You either get lucky with early Nemesis shrines, or you don't. Whenever you empower the Nemesis shrines early in the game, always check to see if there are any crazy affixes sealed. The sealed affixes don't appear to affect the usable level, so you can get some incredibly OP items that you can use at a very early level like this. Unfortunately, the only one I've ever found so far is a sealed tier 6 strength primalist only helm, and that was being worn by my Hearthanon Twink primalist in the earlier clip. And that's it for my 4 ways to juice your early leveling characters in Last Epoch. If you found this information interesting or useful, please drop a like and a follow, and hopefully we will see you again next time. Thank you, everybody.